This is Sarah, and this week is leg week for NoodleFeet. Very shortly, Noodle will turn 2 years old, and as of yet, he still can't walk, which is kind of inexcusable, because as a robotic quadruped, that's kind of his primary function. Though, in theory, he could potentially walk, he can't because his bones are all still made of 3D printed plastic, which is weak and flimsy. And after about, 3 or 4 steps, everything kind of twists and distorts just enough that he loses his center of gravity and falls over. So my goal for the next week is to rebuild all of his bones in aluminum. And Noodle will become metal. And I think this technically counts as robot puberty. So these are my 2 iterations so far of Noodle's legs. These are his baby legs. They have the nice infant socks and the squishy noodle material. And these really tawny 3D printed plastic bones, they twist and give and rock around a whole bunch when he tries to move and hold weight on them. So yeah, after I finished designing his complexly mechanical tasting feet, it was very obvious that I was going to need to beef up his bones. So I redesigned them to be a bit thicker, and I added some hardware that kind of squishes these I-beam pieces in between, and it was supposed to give more structure to this so that the 2 parallel bones wouldn't twist. And in spite of having done all of this, they still twist. They still aren't strong enough, and they're too gummy, really. They just need to be in metal. So Tony made these really nice drilling jig pieces so that I could place these down on top of my material and then drill holes straight through his holes. After those were in place, I used a special bit to countersink larger holes for the bearings used in Noodle's joints. We struggled to spray adhere paper templates of the bone shapes for me to cut around. How much does this suck? But we probably could have just traced the outline with Sharpie and it would have worked just as well. Either way, with the shapes outlined, I cut them out on the bandsaw, sanded the edges down to make them look less gnarly and jaggedy, and after about 2 weeks of toil, had a nice set of frosty white aluminum noodle bones. At that point, I had only to assemble them, replacing the old 3D printed spacers with the threaded aluminum ones, and then create a flat surface on Noodle's femurs and shins for the new bearings to make contact with. After a period of troubleshooting and making minor adjustments, I now have a more profound understanding of just how gigantic 0.18 millimeters is. But with the expert guidance from my friends, everything came together, resulting in the happiest, strongest noodle beast yet. It has been 3 weeks since I started doing this, but I think it's totally paid off, at the very least. These legs are pretty damn solid, and all of their metal glory, you cannot... if I were to grab these and just sort of shake them, they don't twist at all anymore. He can plant himself firmly on the ground and say, no, I will not move because I do not want to. I'm a noodle. And since Noodle has not been out for quite a while now, I'm going to take him to the hackerspace tonight to partake in some delicious pink jello and socialize with the other humans. Pink jello is the most holy of all jellos, watermelon flavored. Noodle and I want to thank my patrons on Patreon because your support helped me afford all the raw materials for everything that I made in the past weeks. That's the aluminum stock, the pipe, the hardware, and the joints that are now in Noodle. So again, thank you for that. You guys are awesome. And Noodle loves you.
Noodle gets his jello.